everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Where Did I Put My Glasses? I'm your host, Sensi.
And I'm your host, Carmen.
Disclaimer, guys, I sound super hyper nasal because I'm recovering from a cold, but nonetheless, we're here to give you another very good episode. So,
Sounds
today.
like the nanny.
Say what?
A little bit like the nanny, but like the black version, like the Caribbean version of the nanny.
Okay, I guess I could be her. I could be her today. I guess so. Okay. Today, guys, we will be talking about settling, especially in relationships. Now, I've only had one real relationship and a long-term situationship. But even with that, I noticed that in both cases, I settled. Both men were completely different. You know, one was awful.
There are much better ways to describe this man outside of awful. I think awful is like a nicer way to describe it. I think we can come out. Let me hold on. I'm gonna Google synonyms for awful. Disgusting.
Oh my goodness.
Dreadful.
Okay.
Dreadful. Ghastly. Oh.
Yeah, there was a lot of gaslighting. So ghastly. Okay.
Abominable.
Oh Lord.
Vile.
Yes.
Vile. I like vile. Deplorable. Offensive. Repulsive. So many.
There's so many words I could use. So any one of those words, guys. Pick one, and that's what it was. Okay? It was just horrendous. Is that better? Yeah. There we go. And then, the other guy, he was amazing. Yet somehow I overstayed in both situations. Now, in order to know that you are in fact settling, you must first have an idea of what you want in a man and in a relationship. So, Carmen, what type of man do you desire to have a relationship with?
Well, currently, let me just put out a disclaimer. Currently, I have no desire to cohabitate. Oh, what is it? Cohabit? Say it. Cohabitate.
Yeah, I think it's cohabitate.
Cohabitate, I guess. With the male species. I do not find any of them attractive. I'm just not interested.
But at the moment,
if I was interested in the male human species, I had a desire to be around one. I would want him to be compassionate.
Okay.
Kind. Thoughtful. I wouldn't say accepting. I would say, like, for instance, I need a good word for this. Like yesterday or Saturday, right? I couldn't find my hairdresser. She was somewhere. I don't know where, but we found her. And I was looking like the little girl from Polar Express. And I'll send you a picture. But I look like that. And I need somebody to still think I'm beautiful, even when I look like the little girl from Polar Express. You know?
I mean, that could be accepting. Let me look this girl up. Because what?
You got 2 kids, you never see Polar Express? Nah, your kids ain't. So I gotta take a sip of this alcohol.
I mean, they watch it. They've watched it. Because every Christmas they have something where they watch a Polar Express, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
I forget her name. But the little girl with the pigtails. That's what I looked like yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
You're laughing real hard. That's what I look like.
Because I see the picture. But I mean...
And I had a nerve.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you just need somebody accepting. And I
Except
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that is your natural form, he should accept you in your natural form.
I needed to be accepting, be able to hold a conversation
Yes.
about multiple topics without being on in defense mode. To be
Okay.
able to communicate and conversate without it being a battle. I don't like that. You should be able to talk about your day, things that you're interested in, things, and I should be able to talk about things I'm interested in. And I don't, I've encountered a lot of men that find everything to be a battle. I don't want to battle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to fight, especially if I'm
Right.
fighting today. I want you to be able to communicate. Preferably, you know, I don't like short men, and I just don't want a little man.
I don't want it either. So
I
I
don't want a little.
understand.
I typically don't date men under 6 feet. I can't see them really, like, and it's nothing wrong with them because they could be handsome and stuff. It's just it's not a match for me.
And y'all, she's like 5'2".
Yeah,
Okay. She is so little. She can't even reach her top comfort.
I don't. I walk around with a stepping stool, but then when you have most of them I'm in the tall, and then they grab it for me. I don't need me and him using a stepping stool.
Oh my goodness.
Because then
Okay.
if that's the case, then I should be by myself. If we both got to use the stepping stool to get to that top cover, I don't need a man.
And that's your rationale. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What else? Besides that, someone who makes me feel protected, safe. I could turn my brain off if needed.
Mm-hmm.
Likes to read, likes to meditate, likes to go for walks.
Okay.
And family oriented.
Outdoorsy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And family oriented. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much.
Okay.
Oh, well, and have a career you're passionate about. Not everyone goes to school and that may not be their path. So,
Right.
like, you have this job, you have to have that job, you have to make this amount of money because a man can make a lot of money and spend none on you. Absolutely none.
Factual.
None of it's for you.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a man that's thoughtful and caring because no matter how much money he makes, he's going to take care of his woman. Period. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So,
Yes.
someone who is passionate about what they do and is striving for nothing but excellence no matter what it is that they're doing. That's it.
Okay. See, we have some similarities. At least you brought the height down to just, well, 6 feet is your bare minimum. Okay, but
I,
you be
I
going
dated somebody
taller.
6 feet. Maybe, yeah, I
I
think
don't
I.
I don't
Well,
know.
I've dated
They're
people.
usually taller.
I've dated people like 6 feet under, but I've never been in a relationship with anyone under 6'5".
Yeah, she like them real tall.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the qualities that you mentioned are qualities that I also look for. But right now, number one for me, numero uno, he must be a God-fearing man. Like, you must love God. You must have a relationship with him. Because if you love him, you love you, and you'll know how to love me correctly. Like, that's what I want. Um, Family oriented, because I come with bills and kids. I need you to be a good role model for my children. I need you to be loving. I need you to love me throughout all my seasons. I don't need a seasonal man where you come in right now because it's my good season and you know how to deal with me because I got flowers. But then what happens when the fall rolls around and the flowers, they gone? Like, I
It's just
need.
quick.
Right, then you're just gonna disappear too? Like, no, I need somebody who is grounded, who can ground me, um, who can just love me through it all. And I need you to be attentive. I need you to hear the things that I'm not saying. Because when
Mm.
I'm not saying stuff anymore, that means I done told you a whole lot of times and you should be able to pick up on it for me to not to have to say it again.
I like that. Not mind reader. Attentive. You're paying attention to what
Yeah,
I'm
you're
saying.
paying attention. Like, study me. Like I study you. I see, oh, you like this. Just little things. And it's honestly the little things that matter. Um, I want somebody who is supportive. I mean, of course, those things are a given. Just the ideal partner. Pour into me just like I would pour into you.
Mm.
Like, that's what I want. And I want you to have all of those qualities and to be my friend first. Because when you have that friendship base, then your relationship could stand the test of time.
I like
Um,
because even
I
if he was
think
like WB Frog, you're still gonna want to be around him because y'all are friends.
Yes, and just like you said, when you look like the little girl from the Polar Express and you walking
You still
around
gonna want to hang out.
in your sweatpants, and for me it's tights. I wear the coochie cutters. That's what he used to call them. But when you walk around the house looking just like any old body, they just think you the most beautiful girl in the world because they love you inside and out, and like that's what I want this time around. Like that's what I really, really want. So,
I just want to say
yeah,
you don't sound that bad anymore.
I don't. I just have to keep going. Okay. No, Fran. All right. I'm going to keep it going. Okay. Um, so it's safe to say I didn't really have that in my marriage. Um, in my situationship, I had some of it, just not all of it. Um, And sometimes they say you're not going to get everything that you want in a person. I
That's
kind of
at
I
five.
kind of don't believe it because if you can get it and it doesn't show up the way that you thought it would. But
Or
you
you
can
can get
absolutely get, or you could do what?
five different ones and then combine them.
Nobody got time for that. I don't have time to be telling five different people no. I can't do it. I don't even know how people were able to like date multiple people at once. Like one person, not to say it's exhausting, but if you're really into it, it takes time. So to do that times five, that's wild.
I'm being an asshole, girl.
Nah, for me, yeah, because you don't like the man right now. For me, I just want one, and I would give him my all because I don't want anything to happen, and then I'm sitting there like, well, I should have done this, and I could have done that, and what would have happened if I had given 100 instead of 50%? Just give your all. If it works, great. If it doesn't, on to the next.
Now, what do you think makes you continue to settle when you already noticed the red flags? Mm.
For me, I feel like it's that Captain Save a Hole complex. To where it's like, I could love you through all of this stuff. So I see this, I don't really like it, but if I do this, maybe you won't do that.
Mm.
And then, the other side to where I just want to receive the same amount of love that I give. Like, if and I guess they're both tied. Like if I love you this much and you see that I love you this much, then you will in turn love me this much. But as
Then
we both know from my marriage.
that's like living in a false reality almost. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like,
Yes.
Aunt Laura, whenever I'm in a relationship and I start telling her things that's like, it's like, orange, like blood orange, almost red.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, all right, now let's reel it in. Is this what's really going on? Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, we tend to justify
Yes.
when people that we're with are doing things that could potentially sorry guys,
Potentially.
I'm going through that,
Potentially. I'm not.
but that could potentially be a flag, and not a flag because everyone has red flags, right? We have red flags, green,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be, but something that may, like for instance, with my last relationship with you know who, there
Mm-hmm.
were so many red flags, but I wanted to see the good in him. And I was talking
Mm-hmm.
about the red flags, and then I will create a scenario which made him look better in
Yes.
that light. And I
I
had
can
like,
relate.
and then it became where I couldn't even discern whether it was reality or the La La Land, the Delulu Land I was living in.
Mm-hmm.
John Laura always asked, like, you know, are you living in reality or is this a false reality you created in order to maintain this relationship that you developed in your head? Because you can
Yeah.
be in relationships with people and they just don't work, you know, and you want it to work so bad, like you said, the Captain Save-A-Ho, you create that false reality and you forget the flags. You forget that they ain't even there. They smacking you in your face when you walk through the living room and just
Yep.
rush.
And you're right, because I did that. I wasn't living in the reality. I was living in my own world. Um, you know, I think I told you I had came across an email from my ex-husband, right? It was from like 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't read it in its entirety, but some things stuck out at me. And I'm like, now girl, did you read this email? Now I didn't read all of it, but did you read some of this stuff that he said? And you still was trying to make it work? Like, why? Like, I was legit confused as to why. Then I just shook my head and I was like, you know what? Hindsight is really 2020 because, baby, and you guys used to always say, he shows you who he is. You just won't believe it. Yeah, no, because it didn't match what was in my head.
And that's where the settling comes in because, like, it was, ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't even hiding who he was. He was who he was wholeheartedly. He didn't even try to trick her, manipulate her. He's like, this is me. I'm a big clown. Here's my red nose, my big floppy shoes, my bad knees. He got bad knees, y'all. And just like, you know, all what?
Nothing.
But um, sorry, I'm always gonna throw in some pepper and some shade when it comes in. But and you was just sitting there like, my man, my man, my man.
Like a fool, a fool, a fool. But I must say, I mean, see, I feel like the manipulation and all of the hard work came in the very beginning. So once I was already down the rabbit hole, it was like I was here. And I defended him tooth and nail. And then this is where this loving you so much thing is detrimental because a person mistreats you, shows you they don't really care about you. They're showing you that they don't care about you, but they're telling you that they care about you. And you are not looking at the actions because, well, that's not what he said. He loves me. Okay, girl. I mean, I can only say this today, okay? Because then I was so gone, like I was really not there. Um, but it was just hard for me to see what everybody else saw because it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I hoped for. And, I would get glimpses of what I thought was the thing that I wanted. So when I got a glimpse of that, it's like, oh, let me hold on to that. And there were so few far and in between. And then me still thinking I could change this person and all of that. I felt like it kind of kept me there, you know?
Now we did touch a little bit on being delulu because delulu will keep you in a situation.
Uh-huh.
But let's dig a little deeper, right? Like
Uh-huh.
why do you think you settle? Like I know for me, I will say like we don't talk enough about mommy issues People always talk about daddy issues, but nobody really talk about their relationship, how their relationships with their mother can impact their relationships with other people. And yes, my father was absent. Well, he was like sprinkling. He
Yeah.
sprinkled, but he wasn't like a father. I can't say he was like my dad. I just knew him. He was somebody I knew. I knew he was, somebody I knew, but he
Right.
wasn't like my
He
dad.
wasn't like your dad.
Yeah. But I knew him. Like I could be like, yo, what's up? Where you at? Like that. But my mom used to play this game of fight for my love and then pin my brother and I against each other. And she would play these games. And of course, we're all adults. You go through therapy. You can't blame everything on your family.
Right.
But I think I settled because I spent so much time fighting for my mother's approval and her love and her acceptance. And she was very manipulative and she would say certain things. I felt like I had to prove myself. I always had to just prove that I am this great person and you should love me. That's the way I put it. In order to get a little bit of her attention, right? Because, she didn't really like me too much. But, so I find myself with men settling for, the things that they do because I want to prove to them that I am a good woman. I'm not just going to bail on you. If that makes sense.
It does. Then now it has me wondering, well, why do I settle? Because I don't have mommy or daddy issues. As a kid, teenager, whatever, like my life has just always been okay. Like I was always seen as the smart person. And I think that kind of became bad for me as far as like I wasn't allowed to make mistakes. And I still have that problem today where I strive for perfection and making a mistake is really hard for me to accept that I made a mistake and it's okay. Like for somebody else, you made a mistake. Oh, I could talk to you. It's like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You're human, whatever. But if I was in that situation, I would beat myself into the ground because I was just always held in such high regard when it comes to certain things. But now I'm really at a loss because then I don't know why I do it.
Now, if you think about, not to therapize you, but when you was with he who shall
not be named,
you were staying with him because of, and I thought there was what you didn't want the people in your country to feel like you feel, and that was important. That was
okay. Now that you said that, right? It wasn't them. It was okay. Now I feel like I know what that was. So my parents have been together. Well, how old's my brother? 51. So old, more than 51 years. And just seeing them, like when you watch TV, it's like, oh, I want to love that last. What'd you say? You better not say nothing about my daddy.
I said our parents.
Oh.
But you know what I was thinking.
Yes, I do. And you need to cut it out. But I always thought, okay, like my parents got together when my mom was like, 16, 17, something like that. So it's like, oh, I want that. And then when I got with my ex-husband at 19, I was like, and legit, it went through my head. It's like, okay, it's not 17. Granted, my mom had a child in her teenage years. That was never something I wanted. So I wanted the relationship, but I didn't want the child. Like, you could keep that. I didn't have kids. Kids wasn't in the cards for me. But when I got with him at 19, and then I felt like, he was my person. He understood me. Like, he didn't condemn me for being me. Um, it was like, okay, I found my person, you know? And then,
I
oh,
saw
I'm a ride,
knees.
huh?
I saw right through those ashy knees.
I mean, and it's easier for somebody on the outside to see through anybody's relationship because they're not invested in it and they're not drinking the Kool-Aid and none of that stuff. So I thought maybe it's my need or my desire for wanting to have a relationship like my parents that forced me to stay in a situation that wasn't for me because I felt like I could make it work. Now, granted, none of the stuff that I went through in my marriage, I didn't see it nowhere. Not with my parents, none of it. None of it. So, now on the outside of that, I look at it and I'm like, how did I ever end up with him? Because then when I started talking to the other guy, he's a lot like my father. Like, I could see my father in him with the way that he is with his family. Like, family is first, the way he is with his kids, just the type of stand up guy that he is. I saw my dad in him. And then when I looked at him and my dad and my brothers and my ex husband, I'm like, how? Like, it doesn't even fit. So I don't know. Maybe just wanting that so much, I ended up in a really bad situation and then I settled there. And then with the new guy, like I said, he's really nice. Um, he has a lot of great qualities, but he still isn't able to give me everything that I need. And our communication styles are different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was a battle. And I realized I need somebody that is going to talk. So if I say something right now and you think something differently, I need for you to say it so that we can have a back and forth communication. With him, it's, I don't want to argue. I don't like arguments. So if that's how you feel, that's what you said, that's what you said. I don't need to say anything else. And then I'm like, what? That's dumb. Like, why can't you say what's going on in your head? Maybe I have it all wrong. And if you say something, then maybe I could understand it from your perspective. And all arguments aren't bad. You could have healthy disagreements, and he just didn't see it like that. And I can't make you see it like that. If that's your communication style, then it just wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't. But now I have to go talk to my therapist because I don't really know why I settled, but I feel like I connected the dots there. And I still do desire, I love like them. Like, I never really seen them, the conversations that's going on right now with the 50-50, whatever. I never seen none of that.
That's
I
so
never
weird.
seen it.
Most
It is weird. Like, it is. Like, right now, my parents are just like old people and they're both savages and they say some stuff that they say to each other. I just bust out laughing and keep it pushing. But it's like, I want that, to grow with someone where you guys have the same type of morals, the same similar goals. The goals don't have to be the same, but similar. And, you're headed the same direction. Yes. But I don't want to end up in another situation to where I want that so much that I'm in a false reality.
exactly. So
Yeah.
when you saying that, there was a question that you had asked. What was that? When you asked, what does settling? I think you were asking like, what does it look like?
Yeah.
Remember, you asked like, what does settling look
What is
like?
sudden? Yes. Well, what does it look like? It looks like not getting what it is that you really want. And for me, I do this a lot. I am able to look at the reason why you can't do something. So, like, Mr. Amazing, why can't you give me the time that I need? I understand your job is busy, like really busy. You don't have the time. You have children and all of that other stuff. I get it. And while I get sad and disappointed because I can't get all of the time that I need, I then rationalize and it's like, well, I understand because he's doing this, and this. But then I also have another side to where I had to ask myself recently in my last therapy session, am I okay with long distance relationship because I'm scared of actually getting into another relationship? And before I could even ask that question, my therapist was like, yes. So that could be a reason why I'm settling, or I was settling, because I'm scared of getting into a real relationship because the last somewhat real relationship I had wasn't real at all because I was living in an alternate universe.
Alternate. Dystopian, almost.
I don't even know where I was, but so maybe it's all of those things. Maybe I'm scared.
We could be just scared because that was scary. Like that's why I don't interact with them even when I'm out. I tell like men, they're like, oh, let me buy you a drink, and I let them know like if you buy me a drink, I'm not giving you my number. I can buy my own drink, and I really prefer it if you don't buy one because I'm not. And they'll keep going and go, okay, buy the drink. I try to explain to them in the nicest way possible. I'm off of man, so I get it. It's scary. They can be scary.
Yeah.
I, I feel
What
like
does it look like for you?
for me, in my past relationships where I settled, because there was one, I could say two relationships that I didn't settle. It just didn't work out because of life, unforeseen circumstances, like incarceration.
But I mean, even with that, mm, but you were still there.
I was still there. I was holding it down for a while, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, enough is enough, But
Yeah.
I will say for the ones that the person wasn't my person and we weren't removed from one another, I can say that let's use my last one because he traumatized me. I guess we can use
The man child.
What settling looked like for me was that when I came home every day, and because I was with him every single day, he like would come to my house. That right, not recognize when someone he had his own place, but was at my place, not recognizing the sign that hey, this person is at your house every day. Right. Coming home and instantly becoming angry or uncomfortable, like the visceral feeling of discomfort by seeing this person lets you know you're settling. When you're constantly in a state of defense, or not even defense, I was like more in the state of like confusion, stress, overthinking. I was clenching my jaw all the time just to be around him.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's settling because your body can't even function appropriately. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, but he was living his best life being with me. But I was physically and mentally stressed out because I knew that this person cannot and will not provide me with the relationship that I desire.
Right.
Do not match. Yes, the sex was amazing, right?
And
So
it always is.
intimacy was on point. You know what I mean? But communication wise, we didn't have the same goals. We didn't have morals. My spirituality is different than his is, even though because he mirrored me. He mirrored me. All the things that I said I like to do, or I'm into, or I enjoy, the things that make life happy for me, he mirrored and pretended he can do that. and he
Mm-hmm.
does things, and he has his own business, and and then after a while, you can't pretend for any long
Anymore. Yeah. Oh, no.
now, where I couldn't even have a conversation. He wasn't peaceful anymore because he couldn't
Mm-hmm.
uphold the real him came out. I'm not a
Yep.
peace, and I like calmness. My home
Yeah.
has to be calm, and he's not calm. He's aggressive. He's
Yes.
active. And I don't live in a constant state of oh, and the lacking mindset. He lived in a world where he was constantly feeling as if he's lacking, and I live in an abundant mindset, and I feel like
Right.
life is like not to be toxic positive, like people say, like toxic positivity, but I do live in a world of it's going to work out, and if I
Yeah.
feel it's going to work out, I'll call someone that I love and care about, and they help me through it, and then I move on.
Right.
I felt trapped, and that's how I knew I was settling. I didn't feel like I was in a relationship. I felt like I was being held hostage. And for me, that's when you should know you're settling.
It's
And
wild that you.
if you wouldn't tell your friends, family members, or sisters to stay with that person, you're settling.
Yes. Yes. Everything you just said hit every nail on the head for how I settled in my marriage. So, when I, tried dating or whatever, I said, and I realized it, I said, I will never tell the guys the things that I liked because I realized all of the things that I liked in my ex-husband were the things I liked in myself because he mirrored me. And it's so crazy. Like, if you look at my pictures from when I was with him, right? Maybe not the early years, but mid to the end, I had no life in me. You could see no life in my eyes, no life in my face, no nothing. You couldn't see it. But he had some glow, okay? He had a glow. He legit sucked the life out of me.
That pause, that sounded wild. He sucked the life out of me.
I
That
mean, the number two sucked the life out of me and snatched my soul all the time, but I'm not talking about that. No, number two was good. Number one, not so much. I was lifeless. I was walking around like an empty shell, just making stuff happen. Um, and about the pretending. He was my knight in shining armor, the one that I didn't know that I needed. My man, my man, my man, my husband, my husband. You can say nothing about my husband, right?
nothing, and I had a lot
But
to
then
say.
he stopped pretending. When he did all of the things that I told him to do, when I'm good at planning out anybody's life, when he followed my track, he was great. But at one point, it's like he couldn't do it anymore. And that was the beginning of the end. And that was when I was confused because it's like, well, what happened? How did you become this person? And it took me years to realize he didn't become this person. This was who he always was. And you're just now seeing it, but you're confused because he was being everything that you wanted him to be early on.
Bingo.
So when you said it, it's like, yeah, I agree. I agree. And, they're just negative and negative in a way where sometimes it's like, woe is me. Somebody's always, whatever's going on in their life that they're not happy about, it's not their fault. It's everybody else's fault. And if they can't deal with the negative stuff that's going on in their lives and be happy for somebody else. That they absolutely can't do.
Well,
I would.
that's more the narcissist can't. You know what? I don't mean to cut you off. Sorry,
You're
I'm going.
fine.
I did not mean to cut you off, but it caught in my head. Right? we're talking about from like the narcissistic male standpoint, right? And I'm trying to think in my head, right? Like male and female.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone that's healthy, right? Not trying to get something from you, but that person is just not for you, right? Like you're settling.
And then that's when it becomes really hard because look, I said I went from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. And when I said that this guy, I really do think he's an amazing person. Just maybe not for me or not the right time because we're not on the same playing field at this time. But then it made it so hard for me to let that situation go because he's just so nice. He does all of these things, but then there's just a couple of things that it's like, can you just get it right? No, you can't. Darn it. But maybe you could. Maybe you could let me hold on for a little bit longer. Maybe if I do this. And see, it's me doing it again. But I'm
Rationalize yourself.
right. And then it's like, well, maybe he is great and he can be great, but he's just not that great person for you. And it's hard coming out of a bad relationship to understand that something that is so good is just not for you. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't fully figured it out because sometimes I miss it. Sometimes it's like, can you just get it together because it was good. We just need to fix this.
Mm.
And then yeah, so it's hard. And this is why I need to stay in therapy. Because sometimes when you're in therapy, you're like, oh, I made so much progress. I'm good now. I think I'm ready for this. And then you get this, and it's like, well, are you ready?
Mhm.
But what I can say though is that I'm now more aware, so I can see when I'm doing it. I mean, still rationalize because it feels good, right? It feels good. The intimacy with number two, I can when I had it, when it developed and it was not physical first. I was like, I never had this with my ex-husband. Like I never had it. So getting all of those first and they're positive first, it's still hard to let that go because it's like, yo, this is good. It feels good. I never felt it before. The connection is next level. But then there's just still some things. And then I'm still also discovering myself. And then, I'm also on my spiritual journey, which is no walk in the park by any means. It is not. And trying that, and then, everything the word teaches you is to wait and put your trust in Him. And I struggle because, I try to plan my life. Plan A through Z, 1 to 10, and all of it. And it's just hard, but I'm here for it. And the one thing I did say though, when I am talking to someone and I start feeling the feels, I'm gonna need him to talk to my friends and meet my family or, talk to other people who aren't hard eyes
Mhm.
with you so
Mhm.
that they can see what I'm seeing, or if they see something else, let me know, and then I can look at it from a different perspective. I don't ever, and I said this when I came out of that marriage, I don't ever want to fall in love again. I want to grow in love. I don't want no man to sweep me off my feet. I want my
Yeah,
feet planted to the ground.
kind of like plummeted head first.
Yep. Head first off the cliff into
I
the pretty
can't think
water.
the last one. I plummeted and I tripped and fell and stumbled on some rocks on the way down, and then it broke my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. So, going forward, it's like,
no, sorry, disclaimer, guys. He didn't beat me or anything. That
No. She's just
analogy.
yes. Um, so I think it's really important. But sometimes it's like don't include your friends in your relationship and stuff like that. Like I agree as far as, intimate details.
Yeah,
But
but this is why. Sorry, I'm being sorry.
no, you're fine.
Maybe to do say that's making me cut you off. No, the reason why I say that, like, no, you're not gonna invite your friend to your bedroom or stay at
No.
your bed or anything like that. But I think, right, I have healthy friendships. I am
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough, I have healthy friends. I have girls that I'm friendly with. I'm using your word. Girls that I'm friendly with. They my
Yes.
pers- they don't know my personal business, but we can go out for lunch, laugh, joke, talk about our day, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I can tell my personal business with, I feel comfortable talking to you guys about it because I don't feel like you guys are biased or side or bash. You just more or less give sound advice or
Mm-hmm.
give me the tools to work through the scenario. But you're not bashing, you're not being a hater, you're not. I feel like when people say that, it's because the people they have in their corner ain't really in their corner.
Exactly. That. And like I said, that's number two
'Cause I,
too, where everybody needs friends. This culture where I don't need nobody, blah blah blah. Bull crap. Everybody needs somebody. We were not placed on this earth to be alone. Because imagine this. You are your only friend. So you're going through something. Who you talking to? Your other
I'm,
personality?
I'm a Tom. I am
I'm,
a
you
Tom.
are, but you have friends and you make friends. So we're not talking about you. We're talking about people who, and it could just be they have had traumatic experiences to where they trusted the wrong person and things like that. And then they become cold and sheltered. But, and this is weird coming from me because, I used to not like the people, any people at all. I didn't. But I've grown to learn that you could be friendly with people and you could have good relationships because they are relationships. They're just, at different tiers. And I have a good group of really close friends. And you should be able to bounce ideas off of each other. You should be able to talk about anything in your relationship. If you feel like you have to hide stuff,
From
there's a
you.
red flag right there.
That,
When you have to hide stuff from your friends and those close, close friends and even your best friends, now it's flagging
mm-hmm.
right there.
So that's what I'm saying. But I understand. So you're not supposed to talk with your intimate details. We're tangential, as y'all know, but
Yes. Yeah.
we
Not tell all of the business, but you sometimes you need somebody to let you know, hey, you're messing up. Hey, you're off the wall. Or no, you're onto something. Maybe we don't approach situations with the correct tone or the correct words or whatever. You could problem solve with a friend. And it's like, hey, this is the problem. How do you think I should approach XYZ? You know what I mean? You just have to know where to draw the line, you know? Hmm. This has been really enlightening. I was therapized. I was not expecting to be therapized tonight.
I feel like all of us need to be like therapized a little bit. Like I feel like for me, right? I have a hard time noticing when I'm settling. I don't. So I'm a little bit of a bitch, y'all. Like I don't really like nobody anyway. Like men, like it's hard for me to date because I have so many. Like once you do something, I just stop liking you immediately. But then when I do fall in love, I fall hard. Fall
Mm-hmm.
down, trip, break my
Yep.
ankle, and like since he said, I want to grow in love. So when I notice moving forward from this last relationship where I settled.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed I was settling when I was getting those visceral responses and everything that I wanted in a man, he didn't align with most of those. He did
Right.
it, and then he started slowly taking off all of the
Yep.
masks, shells,
Mm-hmm.
and started unchecking those boxes. So it takes time to notice when you're settling,
Yeah.
and you can settle with someone, like Cynthia said, is a good person, and it's not on purpose. But I like, it doesn't mean that you may be settling because that person is a good person. You may not want to hurt them. Like, oh, they're such a good person. They buy me nice things,
Mm-hmm.
and if I leave, it is what it is. So I've decided, like, these are like some key, and these are some takeaways, like the people like everyone can use. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're dating, or you are with someone, you feel like they're your potential partner, like you should, one, acknowledge the reality of who your partner is, like what you
Yes.
with
Not who you want them to be,
not
not
who
their potential, but who they actually
you
are,
are.
who they show up as.
Accept the reality and stop focusing on the hope of what you think they could possibly be. This is who
Oh,
they are. The
yep,
false.
that's a word for me.
This is who they are, not their potential.
Yes.
Another one I I can think of is making sure your needs are being met,
Mm-hmm.
um, and make sure you're meeting them on your own, right?
Yes.
So, and being able to be clear with your partner, like you were saying, you want to be able to say X, Y, and Z and not be an argument,
Mm-hmm.
because it's possibly not an argument. These are the needs that I need to be met. Can you do
Yes.
that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And let them show you through what you said earlier, the actions, not the empty words. Oh,
Yeah,
I do
not
this,
the words. Because a
not
person could tell you whatever, and they may have the intention, but intent is not enough. Like, they have to show you. Like, sir, I hear you, but do you believe what you're saying? Do you think that you have shown me what it is that's in your head? No? Okay. Well, then I'm not in your head.
exactly.
You
So
know, it
do
actions, 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 actions matter.
and not and to try not to focus. Well, I don't do this, but I've noticed in my friend group. I'm not telling anyone's business by any means, but some of my friends, my friend groups here, they
Mm-hmm.
primarily on their man, where they lose themselves.
Yes, I did that. You can't do
Yeah,
that.
you can't focus on a person, because a person can't make you feel good about yourself. You have to feel good about yourself. You have to have a life. And I tell people, my motto. I have this saying, and since he knows, it's from a song by the XX from back in the day. That's one of the bands I love. And they had us singing, it's a song together. It's to be together and be, but to be together and be. You can be with someone, but you can also be together with someone and be yourself. You don't
Yes.
need to be happy. I
Nope.
don't want anyone relying on me for happiness. And last dude that I was settling with, I
Mm-hmm.
was his only friend. That's a lot. If
Yes.
I'm your only friend, you are counting on me for
For
everything.
everything.
So when I'm out with my friends, I can't focus on my happiness and enjoying the time, because you are sitting there waiting for me to be done so you can do something.
And
That's
you
all.
can be happy. Yeah, no.
That,
That's a lot. You have to be a relationship is two whole individuals coming together, not two halves coming together to make a whole. No. It's
that
two wholes coming together to make a bomb ass person.
I don't want to be your mood stabilizer. I don't need that.
No, because then it puts a whole lot of pressure on your relationship, you know?
If I
Right. You have to be you, and you have to maintain your own identity outside and inside of a relationship. Yes, that is very important. So when you guys do come together, it's a good time. you know?
Exactly. You're having fun. You're enjoying each other because I'm not relying on you. I'm added to. And another thing, respecting boundaries and
Yes.
respecting your own boundaries.
Res-
So if
See,
they
I was going to say that.
X, Y, and Z, you have to respect it because if they cross that boundary and you will keep allowing them to, that means they can do whatever they want to you because you didn't even respect your
Your
own.
boundary. Yep. And your boundary could be simple things. Like simple things that you said I'm going to do and I'm not going to do, because you don't have to tell a person how to treat you. They look at how you treat yourself. So if you notice, you always put your plate in a certain place and this person starts coming over, guess what? They're going to put that plate in a certain place because that's what they see. That's how you are to operate with everything in your life. Show people how to treat you. Set your boundaries. Keep your boundaries. And when people see, oh, this is how she is, and these are the things that she does and accepts for herself, they will never try to cross those boundaries. And they try to cross those boundaries one time, you put them in their place, and they know, not gonna happen, not gonna fly here. But everything starts with self. And you know,
I was about to say reframe your perspective of boundaries.
mm-hmm,
Because if you want someone to respect your boundaries, you got to respect that other person's boundaries.
yes,
The other person,
it's a two-way street.
yeah, you got to be able to stand true to that and be like, you know what, they don't like this. Let me not do that. Because if it's only one sided, how is this gonna work?
Right. And be real. Like be realistic. Like, you know, the list that you're shopping for from this man, all of the qualities that you want him to have. Can you do all of these things for yourself? Can you be this for you? Are you in a place to where if this is his shopping list, do you check those boxes? Because a lot of times we go in, and I mean, I don't really do this, but girls, from seeing stuff on social media, it's like, I need a man that can do this, and this. And it's like, can you do that, and that for you? No? Well, stop expecting it, you know? Because then, and it's just like men who sell themselves by saying, oh, I got a lot of money. Okay, you're only going to attract girls that like a man with a lot of money, and that's all they're going to like you for. Stop. Stop using materialistic things to sell yourself. Like, sell yourself by being yourself. If a person doesn't like you for who you actually are, then they're not for you. They're just going to be there for a time. So,
Or a season, like you said earlier.
yes, or a season.
And I also wanna say, if this next one, if when we're settling because we are not separating our sense of self from the relationship. Because if someone is unable to meet your needs in a relationship, that's not a reflection of you. Men and women, we got to realize that that's not a reflection of you. It is, they are showing you their capacity and their limits. And this is what they're able to provide. And if that does not match what you need, you are incompatible.
Yes,
And that's it. Go.
exactly. Exactly. If it's a case where you then look at it, say on the flip side, and you're looking at that one thing or whatever, the things that they don't meet, you look at them. Are these real things? Because you also don't want to miss out on a good person, but you don't want the fear of missing out to let you settle. So we really have to put on our big girl panties and big boy, whatever boys wear, I don't know, underwear. To
They
be
were
real with ourselves and our
they
expectations.
and having honest conversations. I feel like people should talk about finances. Should talk about that.
Yes, you should.
Talk about should not. Should talk about. Is religion make or break for you? You should talk
Yes,
about.
there are a lot of things that I realized out of my marriage that I never had conversation about. Man, I mean, I was 19 when I got married. I didn't have a conversation about anything. But there are lots of things that you should have conversations on when you enter into a relationship. It doesn't even have to be later down the road. It could be right at the top of the road. Let's talk about this, and this. And it's not necessary that off the top like you're planning your life together, because that scares some people. No, but it's just having these conversations because these are my morals. This is me. These are all the things that come with me. Let's see if we're compatible. And it's really important. It is
Because
really important.
something as simple as, for instance, you can be with someone like my last guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
We birthday trip, made me in charge of it. We planned our trip to Puerto Rico, me to Mexico. He ain't even have a passport.
I'm sorry. What, sir?
That's
And that's how
but
you ended up going to Puerto
they
Rico. Okay. Yep, it's simple
don't
things.
have a passport. Like,
Right.
so things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be incompatible.
It
And if
is.
you meet your needs, there's someone else out there that will. I'm
Yep.
just saying. And that's how you can, I don't know, that those are those I wrote those down as like a guide to myself for when I do decide to start dating again.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be my like dating rules for myself.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Right
that way I
now. And I'm gonna take a lot of those. You know how before, like, I don't want to date. I do want to be courted. I don't want to date. I'm definitely not going to try to talk to multiple people at a time, whatever. No, because I do have an end goal. And right now, along my journey, I'm going to put my trust in him, let him know what I want, because I have my prayer. I have my prayer. I do. I'm not telling you what my prayer is,
for her because God.
but I have it. I do have it. It's really important because to even write that prayer in what I wanted in an ideal man, like I had to sit and I had to think about it. Like, what are the things that are important to me? And I
You
had to
trying
write them down.
you
I'm
trying to
trying
get
to
your
do what?
go ahead. You get your Sierra on. Dear
Yes.
Wilson, I love it.
Come on. Yes,
I love
Lord, He's going to send me who is for me. And the one thing that I have been asking, like, as I'm praying for all of these qualities in this man, I want you to prepare me to be the woman, the wife that he needs, so that when this man comes my way, I will know it and I won't do anything to mess it up. So maybe that's why we continue to have these conversations and therapize each other.
I like
See?
that.
And this is why you have to have good friends, because you think you don't have a problem, but then you get to talking and it's like, well,
Maybe I do.
maybe I do have a problem. Well,
Well, this
I
is a great.
it was a really great conversation, and I think Carmen had a lot of takeaways, guys. So, when you're listening to this, go back, rewind, take some notes, and have those honest conversations with your girlfriends, your guy friends, whoever. Don't be afraid to talk, Don't settle. Recognize when you're settling and shake it off and be real with yourself. All right. You have anything else to say to the people?
No, I think I'm done. I said all I said.
Okay. Yep, and she said a whole lot, guys. So, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And please, please, please share Where Did I Put My Glasses with your family and your friends. Click, follow, or subscribe on your preferred podcasting platforms to stay updated on the latest episodes. And guys, give us 5 stars. You know you really want to. Also, go to wheredidiputmyglasses.com for information on me and Carmen to see the latest episodes. You can even make suggestions for future shows, and you can show your support and sign up to be on our email list.
And to interact with us directly, you can go to Instagram and Facebook at Where Did I Put My Glasses for your thoughts, questions, or comments on today's episode. Thank you guys.
See ya.